this is a relationship where unashamedly, unabashedly, you can tell him that you love him without any fear of rejection. The law. So, considering that Bangalore is a big city, I want this hospital to be very grand. I said, yes, Swami, it must be grand. He says, I want him to look like the Buckingham Palace. The little gopurams that we had put along the parapet in a few areas. So he says, this is a very beautiful element. Isko sab jagah lagao. He said, this hospital is going to be inaugurated on my 75th birthday. So I want the dome to be 75 feet tall. By the evening, by the time we close office, all drawings were complete.
Oh.
All prints were ready, which I don't know how it happened because we were way, way behind schedule. After having finished his discourse, he put his hand on the mic and Anil Kumar was standing next to him. And he said something to Anil Kumar. And then Anil Kumar announced that out of the 3 people who've been honored today, 2 are the students of Swami's Institute. One was, of course, the trust member, and the second was Rajan Sood. And when that was said, my jaw dropped. What an honor. What an honor. Absolutely. For such a small effort put in. And 2 days after inauguration, Swami called me for an interview. And there were a whole lot of people, including my family. And Swami again introduced me to all of them, saying, this is Rajan Sood. He's the architect of the hospital. He's my student.
Wow.
And for the first time, I had a question, which I couldn't really voice it. But he understood, he sensed it. And the next few words, he said, Rajan, actually he used to address me as Raju. Raju has come for every summer course that was held in Vrindavan. So that sort of, I realized that to be his student, one does not have to be associated directly with the institute, with the buildings, but one needed a connection with him. Yes. And anybody who he decides to teach or take into his fold is his student. And that's the clarity he gave me that day. And my heart was at peace, yes. And I must share another little thing which happened. And again, like I said, he's overwhelmed me so many times with his words. When I started coming for his summer courses, I would get a student badge. And later, I got a guest badge. And of course, it went back to a student. And then in the 90s, early 90s, there was summer course. By that time, the auditorium had come up.
Yes.
So the summer course was held not in the premises of Vrindavan, but in the auditorium. So he'd asked me to come for one of the summer courses. When I reached, it was the first day of the summer course, so I was sitting outside the auditorium. Swami finished his discourse, and he was coming out. And if we are familiar with the auditorium, as you come down the stage, there's the door from where you can look outside.
Yes.
And Swami sighted me sitting outside. So he called one of the teachers there, one of the lecturers, and he says, Rajan ko badge deo.
Oh, give him a badge.
Give him a badge. So I waited all day. I did not get a badge, but I was allowed to stay in the hostel block. So next morning, as we were all waiting outside, the door opened and Swami came with his hand behind his back, as he would very often walk with both his hands behind his back. And he just, with his head, motioned to me, or gestured to me to come close. And I ran up to the steps and he gave me a badge.
Wow.
And I took that badge And he says, see, I saw it was a teacher badge.
Oh.
So, from the student, I think he felt I had graduated to a teacher. And maybe the reason why he himself wanted to give it to me.
Like so many of his students become teachers in the hostel.
Yes. So I was so... I mean, I have no words for incidents like this. I chose you here. This is a teacher. You are he's a student of my institute. There have been so many times and in so many ways that his words, through what he did, one felt that you really belonged to him. And, those little words were incentives to do more, to try and please him in whatever ways one could, so you could get that appreciation. And with that, I think ever since that time of the inauguration and me having met Swami, for having done so little, his generosity was way beyond expectation. His love, his grace. And, later years when I came here, I realized that Swami's hospitals were doing much more than just dispensing treatment. I remember one incident when I was visiting the hospital. I didn't go very often, just once. And that time, I saw a lot of very well-to-do people sitting there, in the screening block. And I was, thinking that why would anybody with such resources come and misuse the hospital? I don't know if that's a wrong word or a harsh word to use. So in a conversation, they told me that they hadn't come to receive any treatment. The world we live in, the medicine, this field of medicine has become so commercial that half the time, or most of the times, we do not know if we are actually sick. Or are we just sources for hospitals and doctors to make money out of us? So this realization came when I spoke to those people. They had come to Swami's hospital only to get a second opinion. They were not looking for treatment. They were only wanting to know if all the diagnosis they were holding in their hands in the form of papers was genuine.
Wow.
They had recourse to treatment, but they did not know how to find out whether they were actually suffering or they were just being made to pay.
Do they really need the surgery? Do they really need the test?
Yes. And there are millions of tests that you are recommended and you don't get them done. Well, we know what happens. So it was an eye-opener for me that this was another angle with which the hospitals were serving people. Another very interesting thing that I want to share with you, Bishu. This I realized on our last visit when we were here for 3 quick days between the lockdowns. And this was during the Janmashtami. I think during those 3 days, there was the Sri Sathya Media Center celebrated its
anniversary, 20th
anniversary. 20th anniversary. And during that anniversary, something that one of you said, I heard that and my jaw dropped. I said, what is this being talked about? And I have to share this with everybody. That Swami's word, one word, grand, had so many meanings to it. And this meaning dawned on me the day I attended this function. I'm not sure with the dates. I'm pretty bad with them. But I believe that this was a time where the seed of Radio Sai was planted
Yes.
through this hospital. It was that Mr. Michael Nobel visited the hospital, the grandson of the
Alfred Nobel.
Alfred
Right.
Nobel.
He's a nephew of the
nephew of Alfred Nobel had visited. And he was so taken aback with this facility, not just because of what it looked like. Of course, that must have helped. But what it was doing,
Yes.
that he came up with the idea of Radio Sai
Yes.
or
Offering world space.
offering world space and making Swami's Swami's
Message.
mission and
Yes.
setting the foundation for what today we call
Yeah.
the Sri Sathya Sai Media Center. And I mean, Swami's words are so difficult to understand. It's only when things unfold that you realize, okay, here's another facet to it, which nobody would have ever understood.
Yeah.
What a thing to happen. What a thing to happen. That he sets up the true meaning of grand. The true meaning of grand, that it is meant to be seen and appreciated. Its grandness needs to be seen. And seeing this, today we are all sitting here in...
Yeah, I mean, everything of Bhagawan is so grand, as you said. The grand hospital was the seat to so many other grand endeavors,
Yes.
missions of Bhagawan. I mean, the media center is one such little, but we don't know of so many more people whose lives have become much more
Yes,
beautiful.
absolutely. The patience,
Yes,
of course,
yes.
that we all know.
But institutions, people, organizations, so many people, because it being in Bengaluru, a city like that definitely catches attention. And I think people want to know, in this whole concrete jungle of
Yes,
all
there
kind
is-
of corporate entities,
There
what is this?
jewel? There's this jewel sitting in the middle, and it does attract attention.
Yeah.
It does attract attention, and we don't know how many people have got connected with Swami,
Yes.
but and also about the media center. All through this pandemic, almost about 2 years, we've all literally been here in Prashanti because we could physically see and hear all that was happening. And we are now very grateful, grateful.
And we also slowly realize that, we are nobody. He has orchestrated everything.
Absolutely. I need to share one incident with you. Okay, just shortly before the inauguration, 2 days before the inauguration, we were just supervising the final finishing and cleaning of the property. And one trust member walked up to me. This conversation had taken place earlier, that we would put a gold Kalasham on top of the dome, the large dome.
Nice Kalasham.
Yes. But then somewhere the idea was dropped, and we were told that this would be done subsequently.
Okay.
So I assumed that this would get done as the hospital starts running. However, 2 days before the opening, as the final cleaning was going on, and this gentleman walks up to me and he says, Rajan, we have the gold Kalasham ready. This needs to be installed. Would you like to guide people how this can be done? And I said, sorry, I don't know how to do it. I can't do it. It's too late to do. So, and with that, the conversation came to a close. So fast forward to the opening, as I was walking towards the hospital for the ceremony, and I looked up, and there was the gold Kalasham on
It was
top.
there.
It was there. It just summed up the fact that I was never really needed. I was never really needed.
Yes.
It was a way that Swami probably was feeling over affectionate, wanted to pour that love onto me. So he chose me so that I could get this opportunity to receive his love.
Yes.
Otherwise, he didn't need any one of us. He didn't need any one of us. Just his will was enough.
Yes.
His will was enough to produce whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
But we little things also need to be nurtured. And his love is what we survive on. He makes, I've realized this over the years that I have been here, that he makes all of us worthy in different ways, so that through the performance of that duty,
Yes.
whether it is, donating, whether it is through working in Media Sai or the institutes, teachers, students, or a person little speck like me chosen to do the hospital, he gave us those things so that he could he had a reason
Yes.
to draw you close
Exactly.
and bless you with all his affection.
Yes.
With all his affection, which he was capable of drowning you in. And it was, at least that's how I realize for myself, and I speak for everybody.
Absolutely.
That he created those circumstances for everybody.
Yes.
So that they could be showered with that love. Otherwise, we are all such insignificant creatures. It doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. Everything, I think, was always an avenue for him to share, and elevate us. The whole purpose of him showering that love is so that we grow. And because that's what always Swami wanted, that we should go to that stage where we feel him every second, so that we are all the time in that everlasting bliss that he wants us to be. And the amount of pains that he goes through to take us to that stage.
Yeah. True. I want to share one more little incident that's just taken place a few days ago. My Swami had I have two daughters. Swami had instructed them, one of them to do architecture and the second one to do interior design. And thereafter, after having finished their study, they should work with me. So we've all been working together for quite some time. And with the new generation, there are new ways of working. The technology is going ahead so fast. And I could not believe that till now, having been in the business almost about 40 years, we don't have a website. Okay? And which is a bit of a shock for everyone. So the girls decided that they were going to have a website for all the works that we had done. So we discussed that if there is going to be a website, if not the landing page, the very first opening page should be the hospital.
Oh.
And Swami so graciously allowed us to work on it. So that is probably the most important project of our lives for various reasons. Now came the question, where to get how to document it. So I toyed with the idea of talking to the trust, talking to the hospital for some photographs, because we have never taken any photographs of our projects. But I was a little hesitant and reluctant at the reaction. They may feel that there's a copyright and that those photographs should not go into personal documentation. So at night, both my daughter and I, we were discussing how we should go about it. And the feel was not very good. Next morning, as the two of us were sitting in the office, she suddenly screamed, "Dad, see! Dad, see!" I said, "What has happened?" She says, "I just opened my Instagram and see what is here."
Oh.
And when I turned my head around, it was the most beautiful photograph of the hospital.
Wow.
And at that moment, we felt so blessed. We felt that Swami had given us his consent for the hospital to be a part of our website. And I asked her, how did this land? She said, "I have no clue. I just opened my Instagram and this photograph is popped up." So we checked through the details under the photograph. It turned out to be a freelance photographer from Whitefield who is into shooting beautiful monuments and things like that. And he happened to go by the hospital early morning. And he'd taken some photographs of this and put them as a part of his portfolio. So we connected with him. And he sent us high-resolution images to be put on our website. And I am so grateful to Swami that he allowed us to do this. But it is unimaginable, the kind of photographs, so artistically done, the angles chosen. Probably, most of us just click. But with the aesthetics, he's captured it so beautifully. Anyway, his blessings always.
Swami continues to capture you so beautifully.
Yes, he
His
does.
love continues to capture us every single day.
He does.
And overwhelm us.
In the last few years, so much has happened. So much has happened where you feel that, again, Swami, I, if you have the time, I want to share maybe two incidents, not related to the hospital, but some things that have really shaken us a lot. This was last year. The lockdown was relaxed in March. So we'd all been cooped up in our homes, so we thought we'd take a short holiday. So we were driving down to Jaipur. So I was driving. My daughter was in the seat next to me. At the back, my wife, and behind me was my mother-in-law. And in the third seat at the back was one staff member. And we were driving in the middle lane of the highway. And somewhere we had gone maybe 100 odd kilometers out. And we were listening to the bhajans on the radio. And suddenly I felt the car was turning to the right. So I was wondering, I said, what's happening? And why is the car turning right? And suddenly I lost total control of the steering wheel. And the car took a complete right turn.
Oh my God.
And we hit the curb and came to a standstill. So I said, hey, what's happened? And suddenly I turned my head out of the window and a huge truck had come and hit the back of the car. Means the side, but the back of the car. With the result, as it hit the back, our car started turning around.
Oh my God.
He was driving at a high speed. We were driving at a high speed, being on a highway. And when the car stopped, we literally saw through the window the truck coming onto us. And it just stopped at the door. We were also shaken. It's a massive truck. My daughter, she jumped out to see what had happened. And by the time she could jump out, there was a massive crowd that had surrounded us. And I also stepped out, and a fit of anger, we started shouting at the driver, didn't you see that you came and hit our car? And when we went around looking at the car, nothing had happened. There were just one or two scratches, maybe a dent. And one of the guys standing there, he said, sir, nothing has happened to you people. Nothing has happened to your car. Why don't you just drive away? So his suggestion seemed sensible because there was no point getting into an argument with the villagers. So it can get pretty nasty. So we sat in the car and we drove away. The car, although it was damaged outside, we managed to drive up to Jaipur and back in the same car. Nothing, not even a scratch to anybody. Not even a scratch.
Wow.
That is how he protected us. It was like we were hit by a little wad of cotton. Untouched. The car, of course, damaged. Big deal. The insurance paid for it, so we didn't even have to pay. So this is how he saved us. Another time, we were traveling. The family was traveling. We were in Edinburgh on our way to London. And I have a habit of carrying all the money and all our documents in what we call crudely as a fanny pack. You tie as a belt around this thing. So in Edinburgh, we'd hired a car to drive around. And last day we left it. It was close, about half a kilometer away from the airport. We left the taxi And we came back we walked to the airport, checked in. The ladies went ahead, and as I was going through the security, the guy told me, please take off your shoes and your belt. And I put my hand around my waist, the fanny pack was missing.
Oh.
I didn't know what to do. I just ran back because it had all the money we were carrying. It had all the cash cards, the credit cards, also the cash that we had. Everything, every penny was inside that. I ran back to the check-in, nothing. Nobody had seen it. So we thought, okay, let's run back to the place where we left the taxi. The place was very crowded. We were running backwards, and suddenly to my right, I see a lost and found counter. So I walked up to the counter and I said, listen, there was a fanny pack that we have lost. And by chance, would you have found it? He says, what was inside? I said, there was a photograph of Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I said that and his face lighted up.
Wow.
And he says, what else was there? I said, there were my credit cards, there was money. I told him, he said, how much money? I said, this much in cash, the rest was in cards. So he says, give me a minute. He went back and he came back in a minute holding the fanny pack in his hand. And he says, is this yours? I said, yes. He unzipped it, took out the photograph. He says, this is the photograph? I said, yes, this is the photograph. So he started counting the money. He kept counting and the amount of money was way beyond I knew. Oh. He says, you had no idea how much money was in this bag. I said, no, I had no idea. And then there was a document inside which had my photograph. He took my signatures and was handing over the fanny pack to me. And one of his colleagues came in. So the person who was attending me, he says, this is the guy to whom this fanny pack belonged. And that man walked up to me. He says, you have no idea. Majority of the people never find their stuff. This had just reached us from the taxi stand, from the car station, and was given to us when you walked in.
Wow.
And this is Swami working. This is Swami working in a strange land without money, with the whole family. We would have nowhere to go.
And there was more money than you
had. More than I remembered. More money, probably twice, thrice the amount that I remembered.
I think that we have no idea of how much is pouring into us every day.
Who could do that? Who could do that anywhere? There is none other. There is none other.
Swami used to always say, I am your only true friend. And I think that is...
He is our only true everything. Every relationship that you can think of.
Yes.
He, at least for me, I know he's fulfilled each one. Soon after our marriage, we lost all the dear family members, mother, brother, my wife's father, her brother. We lost every one of them. Every time we lost somebody, he filled in that relationship. You could see an added love that would have come to us. So in our lives, he is the only one. He is the only one. We have nowhere else to turn to. We have nowhere else to turn to. And here is one very reliable support who is forever there, holding a hand. Not just holding a hand, holding us to his heart. And his love is so, it is very perceptible. It is very perceptible in every which way. I think I was just mentioning to you now, it's only another day in Parthi, and it breaks our heart to leave this place. It's not that Swami is not with us when we are in Delhi. He's as much there. But this is the place we've always grown. This is home.
Yes.
This is home to us. This is where we received the abundance of his love and his grace. And where can one go leaving this, really?
Absolutely. And Swami has arranged it in such a manner that, when all the alumni of Bhagawan's educational institutions gather during the start of the new year, he has arranged that you also almost every year come
Not
during
almost,
that time.
every year.
Every year,
There has never been an almost.
Yes,
You've been here
every year.
year.
So he not only gave you the title that you are my student, he ensured that you are part of that occasion when all the students come to Prashanthalayam to offer their gratitude. And he made you feel much more than the love that the students experience. And I think that is what his love is for all of us.
And there were several occasions where after the alumni meet, the next day he would call us and he'd ask, "Kaisa tha program?" Just trying to get a feedback. Not really a feedback. Of course, it was presented to him, for him.
Yeah.
But generally, making you feel so much a part of it that he would want you to give your feedback on it. So, yes, we have unofficially been a part of it. Always.
Amazing. And so, ultimately, you have the certificate from the Chancellor of not just the university, but Chancellor of the universe. And who is incidentally also our everything, as you said, our beloved and everything.
Sometimes I feel very inadequate in the sense that I'm not very learned. Not very learned in the sense the scriptures or the modes of prayer or anything at all. Just a stupid little me, okay? But even that little pebble would maybe an iota of love somewhere in their heart. For him it is so precious. Even that pebble is so precious that he'd give so much of his time, his love, his affection.
With his love, every pebble becomes a pearl.
Yes, it does. It does. And hope that we all as pearls form a beautiful garland around his neck.
Yes.
And I hope I find a place closer to his heart.
Well, you are always, as he has always made you feel and given you enough occasions to feel that way.
He continues to give. He continues to give so much. So much. And, many people say, I don't like these words, but many people say, he is no more. And my retort always is, he is no less. He is no less. I mean, he is as much here as he ever has been.
Yes.
Has been holding us. Yeah, it's different maybe. We are not evolved enough to see him yet. But, the carols that you people sang, "Open the eyes of my heart, I want to see you." That is the prayer of everyone here. Please open our eyes. Yes. We are waiting to see you again.
Wow. Beautiful. I think as Swami used to say, God is now here. People say God is nowhere. God is now here. And as you very rightly said, all we have to do is open the eyes of our heart and we can see Him, we can feel Him. In fact, as the new year begins, probably this is what we should endeavor to do. Pray to Swami that He allows us so that our heart opens in a manner that we can see Him every second and feel Him every moment in every pore of our being and become what He wants us to become, that love that He is. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time. I know there are so many more stories. Right from 1972, you have been coming and you've been part of the summer courses. By Swami's grace, we should sometime sit down again and go back to those days. But for now, thank you so much for sharing with us the story of the hospital.
I want to say one last thing.
Yes.
And, we've had a little chat earlier on a couple of times. Do you know who's the biggest beneficiary of that? Me. I'll tell you how. every time I felt low, I would listen to these and suddenly remember how full my life has been of His love. And it just peps you up. I don't know if it does much for anybody else, but I realized why Swami made me come and talk to people here. And I hope this will be as much of a shot in the arm for me as the others have been.
Yes, that's what Swami used to say. You don't have to do any meditation. Just thinking about this moment that you have spent with Him, that itself is the meditation. That darshan itself, reliving those darshans is itself our meditation. We don't have to do any other spiritual practice wherever we are, whatever moments we have had with Swami. If only we can just internalize those moments, think about them again and again. I think there is nothing else we need to do. All the love will pour into our heart and His love will carry us through. Thank you so much, sir.
Sai Ram.